So Derek, who's going to win?
Well, New Zealand are going to win the World Cup. I think you need to forget about all those black-hearted people out there telling us they're not going to win. They've got home advantage. I think they learned valuable lessons in 2007, 2003. I think you're going to see the same New Zealand team play almost every game with a few tinkerings, and that New Zealand team is good enough to win. But I just think 8-13 is terrible. If you were to back New Zealand to win every single game and roll your money on, I think you would get far better value, much bigger price. Particularly, I can't believe they'll be 8-13 to win the match in the quarter-final or the match in the semi-final. Just hang on and you'll get a better price, I think, at quarter-final time.
So are you worried about that being bad value?
Yeah, I have to say that my eye went down the betting a bit, and I'm terribly taken with the idea that New Zealand will make the final. And if New Zealand are going to make the final, the next team that's going to make the final, for me, will be France. France will go through what's quite an easy group. It's Japan, Canada, Tonga, New Zealand and France. So France gets to play New Zealand early. I get a reasonable idea what's going on. And then they only have to win a quarter-final and a semi-final to make the final, where that's the next chance they get to play New Zealand. Now, there's a very strange run in the betting here. If you look at say the betting on France New Zealand final, I think is quite low. But you can have a bet on France without New Zealand at 5-1, and I think that's great value. In fact, I think one of the best bets of the whole tournament is France at 5-1 without New Zealand. And one of the reasons I say this is if all the attention on out halves is on Quade Cooper and Dan Carter, I think Francois Twin Duck is a fantastic out half. France have the young gun out half that can run a whole campaign, and to get to a final, to get your 5-1, they only need to win a quarter final and a semi final.
So have you looked at the top try scorer in the entire competition?
I have, and this is a notoriously difficult one. I would say to people, be very careful and watch who your team is playing, and make sure that your player is going to be playing and not rested when they play against the best thing. Now, I have a copy of our Bet365 stuff in the Racing Post here, and they think Guildford and Corey Jane will be the top New Zealand try scorers, and I don't. They think Corey Jane and Zach Guildford will be the top try scorers in the competition at 15-2. Again, I don't. Digby Ione 10-1, Israel Dag 12-1. I think you've got to look at why not Shane Williams, who scores tries for fun. I'd go down around the 40, 50, 66-1, even the 100-1s, and I'd look for somebody in there and take him each way. Take a player that scores tries, and keep your eye on the 13s more than any other position, and keep your eye on the 11s rather than the 14s. That's the left wingers rather than the right wingers. And
obviously you've looked at the top point scorer as well.
Yeah, Andrew Carter is going to be the top point scorer because New Zealand are going to score the most tries. At the same time, I'm fascinated. I had a good look down the betting, and I really like the look of Scotland's Chris Patterson. He's a metronomic kicker and quite often registers 100% through two tournaments. Scotland don't score tries, or as they showed against us, they're weak at scoring tries. And I think Scotland are going to plot their whole way through the competition by scoring penalties. And Chris Patterson's the man. He could knock up a sizable amount of points. He's 66-1, and if you backed him each way, it's 1, 2, 3 each way. I think it's good money to be made there.
So is there any other good value about, or is there anything you should avoid?
Well, definitely, I think you've got to look at Group D and say to yourself, that's a lottery. South Africa, Wales, Samoa, Fiji, that could come up anyway. There could be anybody fresh, anybody could win that, and I would suggest that you only punt there if you're watching it on television for a bit of fun. What I will say is that having looked at all of the group games, which are essentially mostly one-sided and matches that don't count between the top two because they're going through, I would have said best bet for me is Georgia to come in under the handicap against Scotland. Scotland open up, would have played a match and have to come out 4 days later and play the fresh Georgians who were able to slow the game down, do everything. 10-11, that's my banker this week.
So are you looking forward to the World Cup?
Oh, you can't beat it. There's 4 weeks of this now, 6 weeks of this. We're going to be stuck to it. We're going to have all of Ireland are going to be interested in it. Everyone's going to be watching it, and of course if you've got any sense, you'll have bought the Daily Star today, and you'll have exactly what we all think about it today. There's an exclusive interview with Declan Kidney, exclusive interview with Brian O'Driscoll, exclusive interview with Sean O'Brien, and of course I'll tell you just exactly what's going to happen to Ireland.